This is where the fun begins.
I can always point to two female characters that made a huge impression on me. One would be Leia, the other would be the character of Éowyn from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. I won't go into that, it's not my franchise, but Lynn will appreciate that I don't. But the idea that Éowyn slew the Witch King, slayed him, blew my mind as a kid. I had to go back and read that chapter several times in a row right there. Because as a young boy, I had never come in contact with that concept. But this woman took out this main terrifying villain. And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans. Because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Man, it just feels like I just barely had a live stream with you guys not too long ago. So how are you guys doing? And most of you guys know why we're here. Most of you guys know why there's a live, like a breaking news, whatever you want to call this, official news or whatever. From bad to worse, new leadership announced. So what do you guys think about that? Hello, you guys, again. Welcome to my channel if you're brand new or just listening in. And if you are one of my hate fans, you know, I made special clips for you.
Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Bitch, sit down. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with them. The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama.
And this is to all my fellow Gatekeepers Alliance brothers.
Because there's a fucking gatekeeper. There's a fucking gatekeeper.
And a reminder that we are not the fandom menace.
Fuck the fandom menace.
Fuck the fandom menace.
And welcome you guys again. Thank you guys for hopping in this last minute stream here. Yeah, breaking news. And I have the clip. I will bring it up. But, you know, for how many years now? Like about 10 plus years, there has been this back and forth about Kennedy's gone. Kennedy has herself, burrowed into her office, not leaving, not going anywhere. And Kennedy's fired. She's leaving. She's leaving in October. She's leaving in a year. She's leaving next week. You know, we've been through this push and pull of Kennedy is gone. Now, is she really gone? We'll get into that too. And how many of you guys have been with the franchise long enough to notice the direction of Dave Filoni with Star Wars? And it began before the buyout, believe it or not. It began before the buyout. And many people think, or they're not many people, because I know you guys are not many people, but there are a few that are like, oh, well, George never stepped away from TCW and everything is George, blah, 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 blah. and he had full control. Well, mind you, George Lucas had full control of his whole company. I will not say any different because, that's even with the EU, right? But we also know that Filoni has lied so many fucking times. And so, yes, George had stepped away from TCW. He had given Filoni full control of it. And Filoni talks about it here a little bit.
When George announced that the show was going to be happening, I think it was, 2005 back in Indianapolis, Celebration 3. And he said that he was going to kick off the show, get you on your feet, and then he was going to step back. Is George still as hands-on as he's ever been?
He was very hands-on in the beginning. I would see him more than once a week at times. I used to put like all the original designs, Anakin and Ahsoka, everything went through him. I would have them done and direct them to a certain point till I thought they were ready, and then I would show them to him and say, what do you think of this? But once we established the look of the show, he did step back to a degree, but he will always be involved in the he sees a story reel, which is like a very rough form of an episode, so he watches that and then he gives me notes. He used to come in for those and we would sit together and watch them. Now he just calls me.
Yeah, so he would watch the very rough draft and give him notes. We also know that even in clips we hear Filoni talk about, and I wish I had the clip here now, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. But we'd hear how he would take those very rough drafts, present them to George, and then change them. We also know that Filoni also mocked George about Ahsoka's fate. So here we are. We have Dave Filoni now in the reins, front seat of Lucasfilm, partnered with what's her name? Linwin or whatever her name is. I don't even care about these people, but I just want to make sure I get their names right because that would be so Linwin, Brennan. So Linwin. I did get it right. Yeah. So now they have reins. They have the reins of the show. Now is Kennedy's gone. So I'm going to leave it here for just a few minutes and I am going to say hello to everybody in the chat. So we have Purist here on the Rumble side. Woo! Essentialist, no change. Essentially, no change is what you're trying to say. Lin Wen will do what she did, the executive aspects of the company, and Filoni will do what he did, chief creative officer. I'm gonna get into this. We will talk about this, but yes. And King Chris, what's up? Holy shit! An OG stream I can make it to when I'm not at work. I know my streams are in the morning on Thursday. My cap chat. So thank you so much. I love having you guys here. Especially everybody who works and can't come in and hang out during Cat Chat. Thank you for the continued support. And let's see here. King Chris is on the YouTube side as well. Hello. And then we have Matthew got it here. I laughed for 20 minutes straight. They made cartoon showrunner Dave, a destroyer of canon, chairman of Lucasfilm. Now, these are the people that have been with Lucasfilm since the buyout. And their boss is Iger. There's no change. There's no change. We'll get more into that. There is no change. And let's see here. Holy shitful. How are you doing? And let's see here. SWA. What's up? Kathleen Kennedy ain't gone. She's still involved. Disney Star Wars. Is fake Star Wars. Yes. And then Mr. Dystopian here. Once down the dark path, Star Wars is forever lost. It's been lost since 2012. All right, let's see here. And Tehilium is here. Shalom and good to see you all. Hello, and how are you doing? And let's see here. I'm just going in and saying hello to everybody. If there's something I see that I want to present, yes, because I want to stay to the point here. I think it's very important, especially when people are celebrating as if Kennedy is gone and celebrating as if Filoni being in charge is going to change anything, and it is not. And I know what you meant. Some people never learn. No, they don't. They don't. And let's see here. So Lucasfilm, direct from their source website, confirm this. Direct from StarWars.com. Yes, I have the link. I'm not going to use like Deadline or Variety or even Cuck. I'm not going to use the Cuck site either. So I don't have a link tree, but I usually try to copy and paste and put things in descriptions, and I haven't done any of that today. I'm sorry. And then Kenny even gave an exit interview. Yes, I don't think I'm going to review that exit interview, but yeah, she ain't leaving. And she is she's still a producer, just not chairwoman. Dave gets to be paid big bucks. That is all about it. Star Wars is dead. Let's see here. Let's see here. Scrolling down, if there's anybody else that jumped in, I want to say hello to. Hello, Darth Ghostface. How are you doing? He's on the Rumble side. Let's go on here. All right, and Trayla, channel member as well. How are you doing? Flames on the side of my face. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. And Conrado, how you doing? From the Philippines. How you doing, brother? Brother or sister? I don't get your gender wrong. Hey. All right. And Wolf Scar, how are you doing? I'll just be, it'll just be the same old stuff and or get worse. Correct. And let's see here. Chio. Hey, what's up? Kathleen Kennedy is gone, but that doesn't mean it will get better. So she's not exactly gone. Not exactly gone. And let's see, B312. So no more Krispy Kreme donuts for Kathy. Well, no, she can have those. She'll be munching on them Krispy Kremes. I know what you're saying here. When she's helping produce the movies. And we have Gabriel Knight, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And I have to play this real quick before I read. Who becomes a new Star Wars boogeyman without Kathleen Kennedy? Bob Iger, the Kathleen Kennedy Jr. or co-president, gulp Dave Filoni. Do people like Theory have to admit he sucks? Well, Theory does suck, but I'm guessing that sucking can be adhered to something else. You know, the Desert Wonder and, you know, and gay Anakin. Yeah, so you know what he sucks at. I'll just leave it at that. All right. And Riff is here. There won't be any change. Some writers and activists same writers and activists in place. Yes. And I wish I would have pulled up some clips from the women's conference that Dave spoke at. I do need to make some here. I thought I had one saved. I guess I didn't. But basically, we know Dave. He is pro, that SJW, like, everything must be now woman eccentric kind of thing, I guess you could say. Not bad, because we already had all these women leads and characters, protagonist characters before Disney, so that has not changed. But by how he chatted and talked, or throughout all his words to the audience that he was engaging, he is in the same boat as Kennedy, as Iger, about everybody, about their approach to Star Wars, to Lucasfilm in general. So that's something that's not going to change. And people who are celebrating that it's not. And so we'll get into the article here pretty quick. Unless one of us buys Lucasfilm, nothing will change. Hint, hint, guys. Oh, yeah. Just imagine that, they would probably try to sell it for more than $4 billion. And do I have the money? No, I don't. And Batsy's here. How are you doing, Batsy? And Darth Ghostface membership. Okay. Thank you so much for giving some memberships out. I didn't see it announced on here. Or it's on the Rumble side. Thank you so much, Darth Ghostface, for gifting some people with memberships over there. I appreciate it. And we have Tim here. What's up? The Banjo Boys will be big happy. Yeah, they'll be orchestrating their own little songs, verses for that, right? They will be singing like as if, the sun has come out and everything's back to normal, as if George was running Lucasfilm himself. And again, George or Filoni is not George. And we'll get into that some more. So another channel member here. Thank you so much. And then I think I got everybody. Hello to Mystic Troll. How are you doing? It's on the Rumble side. What's up? And I think I did get everybody. And of course, the amazing Mod. Thank you so much. And I will get my shit together so you have all my links. So it'll be a lot easier on you. And let's see here. I think I got everybody now. If I missed you, I apologize. That's not my focus. However, I want to get straight into what we're going to talk about here. So let's go ahead and look at the article. You know, like I said, I doubted Cuck or Puck News because that is the right thing to do, is question everything you hear, especially when you've been hearing all of this going on for a very long time, that Kennedy's gone, there's new leadership, Iger's gone, there's new leadership, all of that. You question everything because, yeah, it's rightfully so. You do have to. But after like 10 plus years of this being announced constantly every year at certain parts of the year, it was almost like, you know, clockwork, basically. You know, that eventually someone's going to get it right, because eventually that's what's going to happen. The change of guard. That's always that's easy to come to the conclusion. It's not easy to predict when. And because people weren't predicting the right dates, it was news that was running every single year. Very fucking tiresome, very annoying as well. And yes, we've talked about this time and time again here on my channel, on Tim's channel. And I believe I even talked about it on the Dark Council or with the Dark Council and others before, when I guess you could say there was a bigger tight-knit community with everybody on the same focus. Hey, Double A, how are you doing? I see you. So this was something that has always been discussed, always been mocked, teased about, because it got so fucking ridiculous. And I maybe had seen it on Twitter about people like, yay, Kennedy's gone. She's not fucking gone, you guys. She's not gone. And then, oh, Star Wars is saved because Filoni, George's apprentice, is now president. He still has to adhere to what Iger and Disney wants him to do. Nothing's going to change. He still is producing the same crap that he has been even pre-buyout. So let's go ahead and take a look. And this is, I missed the Gatekeepers Alliance live stream. We need some more of them. Yes, I agree. I wish we could all got together today and streamed on Gatekeepers Alliance. That would have been amazing. And I really do need to upload some videos for them as well for our YouTube page. So Lucasfilm and Walt Disney Studios announced leadership transition. This is StarWars.com. So this is source. Like I said, I'm not posting any other source, any other news sites. I came to the source. I wanted to find the source because that's what I'm about, right? As Kathleen Kennedy steps down from Lucasfilm leadership to return to producing. So you don't have to go far to read what is exactly going on with Kathleen Kennedy. It's right there. But a lot of these people, these bigger channels, these bigger people with a bigger following on social media platforms, either are very ignorant to this and just use other sources that normally don't say something like right here, what's highlighted in the blue. They ignore it because how things are worded is clickbaity and goes into the grift spear of gathering attention and all this other stuff. But be responsible. Try to do as much research as you can. Find the original source. I have made mistakes before. I admit it. But find the original source. Read through it before you present it, because there might be something key there that no one's touching basis on. And then you can come to the conclusion, are they grifting? Are they just being dishonest, which can go into the grifting type sphere, right? Or are they using another source and not looking up the actual source, right? So Dave Filoni will lead the studio as president and chief creative officer alongside Lin-Wen Brennan as co-president. So basically they both are chairing together. And Lin-Wen, she basically will take, looks like the business aspects of it, because that's her expertise. And Filoni will take the creative control. So nothing changes for any of these two other than they have more responsibilities to as co-chairing the presidency of Lucasfilm. Now, does he have the credentials? And I didn't look him up, so this is why I'm like throwing this question out here. Does he have the credentials to lead a business? And I will say probably not. So he is basically overseeing creative because that's his expertise. And so these business decisions and stuff like that, probably not necessarily his, but more hers. But then again, we have the woman and the man here in the seat. Who is going to have more say? You guys can predict that yourself. Keep an eye on Lucasfilm within this next year. See what happens with that. Look at the lore and then look at the business side and go from there. Now, I did state on Twitter that there are so many campfires being lit that the lore now is going to be fully basically hearsay and rumors, because that is exactly what Filoni's about. He don't care about continuity. And so where is Star Wars safe about going forward from that? Because he's like, oh, it's like a campfire. You have a story here that says one version, and then you have the story being told here, another version, right? So nothing's going to be coherent. Now, are we going to see a lot of Ahsoka? Just wait and see. Just wait and see. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Lots of campfire stories. And let's see. Well, to be fair, Filoni is feminist, so it's two female leading. Yeah, he can't. Yeah, he's. Yeah, you could say that. I'll just leave it at that. Well, Dave Fradloni will probably change his pronouns to she, her. Who knows? Who knows? Let me see here. He is married. And let's see here. And what are the odds? People blame Linwin rather than Dave if they're that's another thing. Thank you so much. So the blame has to shift somewhere, right? People already put Dave on a pedestal. People are already like, oh, well, that's, George Lucas's successor. Excuse me? What? The successor, sad to say, is Kennedy. Kennedy's been with George a lot longer and known George a lot longer than Filoni. And she was hand-chosen by Lucas and trained by him to lead Lucasfilm. Interesting, right? And look what happened. It's kind of sad. And I'm like, ugh. And then people are like, oh, well, you can blame George Lucas for the way, the direction Lucasfilm has gone because he trained Kennedy. Not necessarily, because he was her boss at the time. And then when the reins changed and Disney acquired Lucasfilm, then she had to report under a new boss. So leadership is only responsible for the leadership, right? So so she's only responsible, or she's only accountable to what her leadership wanted her to do. The leadership has not changed. The leadership is still intact under Disney. And we still have the same people who have been adhering to this leadership. Now they're stepping up to implement stuff. That doesn't mean anything's changed. All right, so there you go. Oh my God. And Looney Kathy still praises Ruin Johnson. Well, they all do. Dave Filoni was basically getting trained, getting hands-on experience. It kind of sounds funny. He was over there getting hands-on experience by Rian Johnson on the set of The Last Jedi. And that is basically something that is documented in the making of The Mandalorian. I have shared that information before, and also the page it was written on for the making of Mandalorian, where it was stated they could pick someone who was written and directed and has creative bone in their body, could they? Or they couldn't pick. Sorry, they couldn't pick. They have figured out why Star Wars worked. They haven't figured out. Jeez, Laura, I can't even read. Like, it's been like this all day today, you guys. This has been crazy for me. They haven't figured out why Star Wars worked under George. no one is George. No one can produce the quality of or have the same vision, same direction, same quirks, all of that. Not even Filoni, not even Kennedy. And I would even safe to say, like not even anybody who worked with George, correct? No matter who, if it was an author or whatever, you can't be the person that you work under. You can only be influenced by them so much and go by their rules, but you're never going to be that person. No one's ever going to be me with my creativity, with my painting, my all of that. I'm not going to be like someone like Purist with his expertise and what he does and his energetic personality for his channel. We're all we can all mesh. We can bring our own personalities. We can get along. We can fit with friendship and stuff. But the different personalities, we're not a hive mind. It would be ridiculous, right? It would. So let me see here. And Filoni's wife is a Satanist. Well, I guess that's how it is. And let's see here. And anything else here before I read on. Lin Wen will now feel the criticism just like Dave and Kathleen. So she's fucked herself over. Maybe she's already has. I don't know, but we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Disney Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. It's fake Star Wars, but I'm going to still watch the development of what's going on with the new presidents, like co-chair presidencies, I guess you could say. Putting Dave on a pedestal isn't the same putting Pussy on a pedestal. Now, are you talking about the kitty cat or a kitty cat? Okay, anyways, let's see here. Kathleen Kennedy 2.0. And then Kennedy betrayed Lucas. And that's what I truly believe. The shareholders and Iger, correct. The shareholders do have a say. And we'll see what comes from this. Now, I bet you people are like, well, since, Filoni has been under George Lucas' realm for TCW and stuff like this, that we have full confidence and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Something that people don't bring up when they bring up all of the Star Wars content like under Disney and what was created by Filoni and overseen by Filoni is the Resistance cartoon. That has basically faded into, I guess you could say, just out of people's sights, I guess you could say, or maybe it's done on purpose or not, because that is a huge, huge failure of Filoni's. And they're like, oh, well, Filoni was just overseeing. He got it started, blah, blah. No, it's still his project. Still his project, still his baby. And that itself was not successful. Not successful. And then, of course, you could say that about the Book of Boba Fett, which he helped create as well. And Mandalorian and Ahsoka. But, that's one thing that, we can, get into and talk about here in the future, as well as we watch what's going to happen and develop going forward with Lucasfilm, with basically not Lucasfilm, but Star Wars. But the thing is, we're talking about Lucasfilm. So that goes into other properties that Lucasfilm owns. Will they somehow make another Indiana Jones? Dave will be in charge of that. The decisions for ILM, Dave is in charge of. Think about that. So this is not just Star Wars that he's in charge of. It's not Star Wars, just Star Wars. It is a whole Lucasfilm operations, which I highly think that this is a bad mistake for them to make if they want to go forward successfully for Lucasfilm in general, like Skywalker Sound, Lucasfilm, ILM, and their new gaming department, which used to be LucasArts. All their companies within Lucasfilm, he's in charge of. They report to him. He reports to Iger. Now think about that, because we're talking particularly about Star Wars. But Lucasfilm does not own Star Wars. So what is the fate of Lucasfilm with Filoni in charge of it? Because they're looking at him as an expertise for just Star Wars. But that's not exactly, that's not the only franchise at Lucasfilm, and that's not the only responsibility that Lucasfilm is in charge of. So think about that for a second. Okay, so let's go into this article here a little bit more. Lucasfilm announced today, after 14 years of leading the studio, President Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from her role. Now, from her role, but not from the creative aspect. Kennedy will return to full-time producing, including the studio's upcoming feature films, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Star Wars Starfighter. Dave Filoni, who worked closely with the creator George Lucas to build Lucasfilm animation department on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and to help launch Star Wars live action series alongside Jon Favreau and The Mandalorian, will take on creative leadership of the company as president and chief creative officer, and Lin-Win Brennan will serve as co-president. And again, like I said, it's not just Star Wars that Lucasfilm is in charge of. Their close collaborations and more than 30 years of a combined senior executive experience will carry Lucasfilm into its next chapter of storytelling. With a strong foundation of creative vision and of operational leadership guiding the studio forward. Okay, so they're just talking particularly about Star Wars because basically they're done with maybe Indiana Jones, Willow. Was it Willow? That was basically a huge failure and then shelved in the vaults. So where does this take Lucasfilm other than just Star Wars? Think about that. Where does it take? Because they're talking only about creative expertise, but Dave only has creative expertise under Star Wars. So where is this creative expertise when it comes to ILM and other things with animation and all of that that's outside of Star Wars? Because ILM does not just produce Star Wars either. They also get licensed out. They're also used by different studios for their creative experience. All right. And this is a quote here. Quote, "My love of storytelling was shaped by the films of Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas. I never dreamed I would be privileged to learn the craft of filmmaking from both of them," said Filoni. "From Rey to Grogu, Kathy has overseen the greatest expression in Star Wars storytelling on screen that we have ever seen." No, I disagree with that, Filoni. I am incredibly grateful to Kathy, George, Bob Iger, and Alan Bergman for their trust and the opportunity to lead Lucasfilm in this new role, doing a job I truly love. May the Force be with you. And then going on here, Lucasfilm has played such a meaningful part of my life, says Brennan, in a community of inspiring storytellers with a rebel spirit like no other, and I'm honored to join Dave Filoni in leading us forward. I have been so fortunate to lead from George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, and Ellen Bergman, and have unwavering faith in Dave's creative vision for the next chapter in the Storied Studios legacy. So they're just basically talking about Star Wars. So is Star Wars the only thing that Lucasfilm's going to be in charge of these days? Is there not going to be any more of anything coming out of Lucasfilm other than Star Wars? All right. Filoni joined Lucasfilm in 2005 and has played a pivotal role in shaping the creative direction of the Star Wars universe. Creative direction? More like a creative destruction. Working closely with George Lucas, Filoni was instrumental in establishing the company's animation studio and has since expanded the franchise into new and compelling territory. Oh my God, this is hilarious. His storytelling contributions span acclaimed series such as Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and The Mandalorian. You notice how they're not talking about the Resistance cartoon, earning multiple Emmy Awards and nominations. Filoni currently serves as showrunner for Ahsoka, now in production for its second season, and in teaming with Jon Favreau on the future film of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which debuts May 22nd, 2026. And so Brennan basically just tells her story here. Brennan has been with Lucasfilm since 1999, beginning with her tenure at Lucas ILM, where she rose through the ranks and became its leader in 2009. She was appointed general manager of Lucasfilm in 2015 and president and general manager of Lucas Business in 2024. During her tenure, she has guided the company through transformative technical shifts with a clear strategic vision and a commitment to innovation, and her industry leadership has been recognized with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Visual Effects Society and honor of Commander of the Most Excellent Order in the British Empire. Okay, so there you go. And then, of course, it has Kathleen Kennedy's legacy, which we don't have to get into much there. But let's see what you guys are saying. I'm going to scroll all the way down. You guys have a lot to say. And I have 68 beautiful souls listening here. Rumble, YouTube, Twitter. Thank you so much. The only true way to save Star Wars is not member berries, nor pandering. It is the resurrection of the expanded universe. I wouldn't even resurrect that under Filoni. No way in hell. No way in hell. Let's see here. And TCW fans, we're saying Filoni freed us. Filoni, oh, I wouldn't say free, more like under new management. And then the Mystic Troll was gifted a membership by Dart. Thank you so much for doing that. And I see Scran is in the chat. What's up? This must be the gifted memberships, maybe, because there's nothing there on my side. Thank you so much again. Iron Inquisitor is here. Lucas, quote unquote, Lucasfilm will be recognized in its first Filoni empire. Oh, I know. Let's see here. Scran is on Rumble. He's on the Rumble side. Something smells fishy here, and it ain't Kathleen's. Meow. It ain't Kathleen's meow. Right, let's see here. I'm scrolling up a little bit more just to see what you guys have said here. My only question is, why now? Why now did Kathleen decide to step down now? Is she stepping down because Mando and Grogu movie is coming out soon and it will flop? Is she saving herself from blame? No matter what, she's always going to get blamed. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. And then a fake guy that loves fake Star Wars was jizzing his pants earlier today. He's happy that two bitches are in charge. I know. I have yet to explore the YouTube verse and see some of these guys going off. Just going off on this news. By OG, thanks for reposting my Star Wars EU Quib community post. Appreciate that. I got more and more coming. Okay, cool. Awesome. You are welcome. And Trela says the one project Felony was given complete control of was a dumpster fire. Correct. All right. So we have this here. Will anything change? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? My conclusion is that new leadership, it's the same circus. It's the same circus, you guys. The same circus. And nothing will change, because in order for change to happen, you are going to have complete overhaul. And this is not complete overhaul. You know, Filoni has always been in the camp that EU was never canon. He has always been in that camp. He's even expressed it so many damn times after the buyout too. And he uses a lot of appeal to authority. So be prepared to, George, because I was George's apprentice, or because I had training from George, or George said this, and so this needs to be like this. And so prepare for a lot of that. It's raining in the desert and mouths are wide open. Yeah. Let's see. Nothing's going to change. Kathleen is still with the company. Now, my question is, will Kathleen still have power? She will have say in a lot of things. They will still give her some privileges now because she's going to be working with the company. Now, there's a difference between her and George. So during the transition in the year or two that after the buyout happened and that transition of switching everything over and stuff, they offered George Lucas to stay on as a consultant. But they also reminded George, you can go ahead and tell us how you want things, but we don't have to do it that way. And sure enough, they didn't. And George was very expressive about that. And yes, he has came to a lot of like on-set visits, and that's including like the Mandalorian, because we have that image. You've seen it. It's out there of him holding the wannabe baby bastard Yoda. And but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that George contributed to the lore. He gets writing credits, or he gets credits towards the lore because it's based upon his, but it's not his. It's Disney faux lore. So be prepared for a lot of people saying, well, George visited Filoni, so blah, blah, blah. Be prepared for that kind of talk. Be prepared for Filoni is George's apprentice, so everything that's being done now is basically George, as if George has been producing or making these shows. Be prepared for that. And then be prepared, if there's going to be any blame, it's not going to be on Filoni. It's going to be on Linwin. Because, again, they put him on this pedestal. And I think her accolades are a lot better than his, but doesn't mean that I even trust her. She's made her marks pre-Disney under George Lucas for ILM and stuff. Great for her. That's fucking amazing. You know, and many people who say George, you know, was sexist or whatever. No, he's not. Okay. Say, OG, go into Rumble Studio and check your gifted memberships. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I will check it out right now. Rumble. Let's see here. I'm still learning all of this stuff here, so let me see here. Manage account settings. No. My feed. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I just got to make sure that. Oh, come on. Ugh, I hate when that happens. All right. Let's see here. Check my memberships. How do I do that? I am still learning, so let me know how I can do that. Stream needs to show Rumble rants and gift subs on screen. Oh. StreamYard needs to show Rumble rants. And it says, oh, gee, you've missed a few donations too. Okay, let me go over there. My goodness, I need to get my act together. All right, let's see here. What can I see? So we have some gifted here. Darth Go-Face gifted 5 of them here. Let me see here. Let me close out of here. And I'm scrolling at Mystic Troll. Let's see here. I'm going to have to keep 2 windows up or just open up. And then a $2 from Riff Magos. I don't care if anyone worships Filoni and Disney. My allegiance will always be with George episode 1 through 6 and the EU. Thank you so much for the rant. And then Darth Ghostface again. Thank you so much. I don't know how to put them on screen. How do we put them on screen? Unless they are. I stopped the video here on my end. I am still learning this side here. I guess I'm going to have to monitor both sides when I do this. Go on, kitty. Go. Go. Get out of here. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. All righty. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just log on to Rumble channel, mute the live so you don't echo and just scroll up. I did that already. That's all I got to do. Awesome. I did that. Thank you guys so much. I will just have to have both screens on. I'll have to hook up my other screen and turn it on, which is no problem. I don't mind. I want a huge setup where I have multiple screens. That's eventually my wish. And that'll also help with my creative side on making digital stuff. So there we go. So you are not alone. Let's see here. And let's see here. All right. So with that being said, here we go. Like I said, I doubted. I always have doubted. I've always been skeptical about any news that came out about Kennedy being gone and new people being put in her place and stuff. We knew it was coming. We knew we know that she's at the age of retiring. She's not fully retiring, but she's stepping down on the leadership role, but still being in the leadership role in production of movies. So here you go. And but is anything going to change? No. This is not about a celebration party of Disney Star Wars being saved. And unfortunately, I'm the only one banned from YouTube. I know you are, Pure. So sorry. That fucking sucks. And the entire Gatekeepers Alliance is on Rumble. Yes. So there we go. Now I was thinking about having people on, like some of the Gatekeepers Alliance, but I want to go ahead and start concluding, make this short, sweet, and simple to talk about with you guys, and then get back to my life here, cook for my family, what have you, or at least find something we're going to eat and hang out. So I just wanted to get on here and jump on this and talk with you guys about this, and talk with you guys about this in a real logical aspect, a real logical way of looking at everything, looking at the history of Filoni, looking at the history of even Brennan, and the direction of Disney Lucasfilm. And because Lucasfilm is not just in charge of Star Wars, and people think about that because that's a major franchise that George grew and it became popular because of the fans and stuff. But this not only affects Star Wars franchise, it affects everything under Lucasfilm. And I don't think Filoni is in the right position for this. And Brennan, maybe not. But like I said, I don't have confidence in anything under Lucasfilm anymore. Not even for Leland Sheen, Pablo Hidalgo. So here we are. And make sure that no one is sending anything else here on Rumble. There we go. All right. I think I got everything on the Rumble side. Awesome. Okay. So I wanted to come out here and step with a logical feedback on this, an analytical one. And I will say this, and I didn't grab the link for this, but out of everybody who claims their sources have said this and that, they're right, and they have these sources that are accurate for the 10 plus years that this has been going on, the one person who doesn't have sources and just made a simple prediction off of everything that he's been watching and observing and researching, Knights of Melvin. Knights of Melvin predicted Filoni co-chairing with Brennan. And I don't have the link on me. It has been shared before. I think I shared just a clip of it on, I think it was a clip of it or something like that on my Twitter and stuff. But that is just something to check out. But have we seen Melvin go and say, oh, my sources said this, or boasting about anything or whatever? No, he just went through a logical perspective on observing. And so credit where credit is due, right? But does that mean the franchise is safe? No. Does that mean Lucasfilm is in good standings? No. Look at all the other properties that Disney has. Now, this morning we talked about, the reorganization of Galaxy's Edge on diversifying characters for the greater audience at theme parks. That doesn't mean anything's changed. That doesn't mean that the Disney trilogy has been retconned or thrown out or whatever you want to call it. It's just diversifying. And they will continue to do that. You've seen that with even different themes in the theme parks. Things always change. How Disneyland and other theme parks were when I was little are not the same today. Doesn't mean anything. Does not mean a damn thing. Yes, Melvin used logic and common sense. And that's what we're here about. We're here about analyzing, observing, using logical, our logic, having discussion, breaking things down, finding the actual source to make sure what we're talking about, we know what we're talking about. If there's anything that these other sources that use the original sources information and what they wrote left out anything, we're going to make sure we covered everything. A lot of these bigger channels and bigger social media people don't do that. And it's evident here today. Some people talk about this and won't even know the fucking lore to get into what Filoni has done. They will just say and put him on a pedestal and say, oh, well, Star Wars is saved now. But they've never been with Star Wars long enough or never cared enough to see what exactly happened behind the scenes with the destruction under Filoni. Cup News was still wrong. They recycled their news from the previous year and changed it from Carrie Beck exactly to Linwin. Exactly. And that's another thing too that I meant to get at. So thank you so much, Pierce, for that. There's so much going into my head about like, what should I talk about? What should I cover? Make sure I get everything aligned and stuff like that. So thank you for presenting that, because that is true. That's one thing I wanted to cover. And so I just wanted to cover this with you guys really quick. You'll probably see it on the other Gatekeepers Alliance channels as we start going through this week, talking about it. And from this point on, we're going to sit by, watch, and discuss and see what they're going to do with Lucasfilm. Not just Star Wars, but Lucasfilm in general. Again, Filoni is not the right person to lead Lucasfilm because it's not only about Star Wars. So it's a fatal mistake on their part. But hey, you know what? It was a fatal mistake of George's for, putting Kennedy where she's at. It's a fatal mistake for George. Well, George didn't hire. He's not responsible for picking Filoni. Catherine Miter, or whatever her name is the one that hired Filoni. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. Tartakovsky was George's person for animation, for leading on into TCW, or the continuation of the Clone Wars and other projects or whatever else George had in mind. The negotiations didn't fare well, and Tartakovsky didn't get what he wanted. Well, I wouldn't say what he wanted, but those negotiations they couldn't come together. And so it didn't work out. And here we are. Here we are here today. So with that being said, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys on the Rumble side. Let me check one more time over there to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got everything. Thank you so much. Again, for everybody who received a membership from those who have given. One, thank you so much for your time, for donating, from Mystic Troll and from Darth Ghostface, as well as Ruth Magos for $2 super chat over there. And for those who have sent super chats over here, Gabriel Knight, $10. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of my channel. Like I said, I will announce when I'm going to do it, but we're going to have CAF chat. We're going to have at least once a month exclusively CAF chat on Rumble. So if you haven't been over there to follow me and all that, go do that so you can participate. And then I want to at least do like twice a month a Cantina nights on a Saturday night for the channel here. So because I know that audiences are completely different from night and day. And so I want to make sure you guys can get in on the Star Wars lore talk and the current news that's developing now that I'm going to pay attention closely to what's going to happen within this year. And I will be reporting on a lot of it. And so stay tuned for that. And of course, stay tuned to other Gatekeepers Alliances lives. And you're going to hear us or them or, us, each one of us discuss this. And we're going to have our own flavor, I guess you could say, because we're not hive mind. and our own view. And so something I said here, maybe Pierce is going to hit a point that I forgot to hit or have a different view or slightly different view. So stay tuned for those as well. And we do have Grizzy going live here soon. So we got to get you guys over there too as well. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and the continued support. You guys are amazing. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Let's go ahead and play this.
I'm telling you, this finale, it's unbelievable how tepid contemporary art seemed compared to the passionate quality of this finale. So you have this like huge, like it's like romantic nature painting, apocalyptic landscape of the lava. Lucas cross-cuts the destruction of the Senate chamber, and you have the destruction of industry going on. And then, after all these horrors, it is so beautiful. I'm saying, my God, nothing in the last 30 years in any of the arts has been produced as emotionally compelling and significant as the finale of Revenge of the Sith.